So, good afternoon. This is Oran Z, and we're here at the Palace number 2, and we're talking to a few of our friends and family about some of the things we want to do. And we're talking about some things that I think people should know about people in history. Okay, we're going to start off with our man here. Introduce yourself.
I'm Brandon Pope. I'm originally from Atlanta. I have a company called Glacier Group, and I got a lot of respect and honor for what Mr. Oran has done when it comes to this collection, and we definitely want to be able to be involved and be as much help and benefit as possible in this process. It's an honor.
It's an honor, man. It's an honor, man. Yeah, I'm John. We're here. I'm with Oran here. We're learning some new history points, learning things that we didn't know. It's always valuable to learn new knowledge, so we're about to soak it up. I'm glad y'all tuned in. Y'all about to learn something. We about to learn something. We all about to grow today.
Absolutely.
We got my son here.
Hello, I'm Horatio Lewis, also known as Show Nuff. I'm from owner of the Show Nuff Foundation. I also work with Oran's Black Museum. It's an honor to be here with these two brothers, to meet my pops. Love this man to death. Y'all about to learn real history.
So we were just sitting around talking, and my man was saying about the things about Booker T. Washington, who everybody knows is my favorite, and W.E.B. Du Bois, and how back in the day, and even to this very day, the oppressor, we're not going to say no color, nothing, because basically poor whites and poor blacks are on the same poor table, but the oppressor only wants them to be one black. So back in the day, there were 3 blacks trying to get the top spot. There was Booker T. Washington, who was down in Atlanta with the Tuskegee Middle Institute. There was Marcus Garvey, who had just jumped off the boat from Jamaica, who was trying to say, hey, where are the black presidents and the black kings and queens? And there was W.E.B. Du Bois, who was up in Chicago trying to do his thing, trying to teach black folks who couldn't have enough food to eat how to play the grand piano. He was an intellectual. So W.E.B. Du Bois' thing was to have what they call the talented 10th. And so what his idea was, teach 10% of the black folks how to do something really cool, and it would trickle down to the other 90%. Where down in Alabama, we had Booker T. Washington. Now, Booker T. Washington said, why have these black folks who have no homes have a grand piano, learning French, when they should be learning how to build bricks, how to invent stuff, and how to enrich their lives on the land on what they already got? So there was a fight between these two. Now, jumps a third person was our friend from Jamaica, who had no fax machine, had no internet, but created the largest black organization to date. And that was the Honorable, who knows it?
Marcus Garvey.
Marcus Garvey. So, Marcus Garvey, from once being not from America, 2, not intellectual, was hated by, at that time, our friend up in Chicago with the Chronicle, which was W.E.B. Du Bois. But later on in life, W.E.B. Du Bois, he got it. He understood after Marcus Garvey got kicked out of America, had to go to London, had to go back to Jamaica. Eventually, E.B. Du Bois woke up and became a Garveyite himself. In fact, took the red, black, and green flag that Marcus Garvey started, said, well, black folks need a flag. So he started the red, black, and green flag. Now, later on, closer to our time, another brother picked up the red, black, green flag, threw it together, and turned it upside down and inside out, Maulana Karanga, red, black, and green. But now it was green, black, and red. And basically, trust me, there's a difference between the Garveyites and the Operation Us. But that's another story. So, Marcus Garvey taught William E. Du Bois so much about being black that William E. Du Bois went to Ghana and is buried right now in Ghana in the Garvey Park under a red, black, and green flag. That being said, the talented tenth never worked. Because usually when a bunch of these brothers got money, they keep the money. Just like a lot of these athletes today, they are sitting here with millions and millions of dollars. And a lot of them don't even know who their predecessors were or who was the person that gave them the opportunity or opened the doors for them to be the adversary or be the athlete, the star, the moneymaker they are today. Now, we were also talking about, I asked these gentlemen about the women. Okay, now we said, who's the richest woman?
Oprah Winfrey.
Oprah Winfrey. So who's number two?
TV One.
Yeah, the girl from the projects of Omaha, Nebraska that did TV One. Who's number three? See, there's silence because basically we only supposed to have one, Oprah. Having two or three of them is a phenomenal. But a lot of times people go by, even myself. In the day, I was inspired by the Honorable Madam C.J. Walker. And I hate to say this because of being a true historian, you got to present history accurately. That's my problem. Because a lot of people, even black people, want to present what they heard, how they heard it, and even how I heard it. Now, I had heard and believed with all my heart that Madam C.J. Walker was the first self-made black woman millionaire. Did anybody else hear that?
Yeah,
y'all hear that?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you believe it?
No, honestly, I don't.
Okay, fine. Do you believe it?
Well, that's the only information I had. So,
Do you believe it?
Yeah.
Do you believe it? I believed it. At one time, I believed it. I believed it thoroughly. But that ain't true. Madam C.J. Walker actually learned her stuff from Annie Turnbow Malone. She was the first black millionaire. And she gave millions of dollars to Booker T. Washington and millions of dollars to the Tuskegee Institute and was selling products called Perot. P-O-R-O products. And she did this for years and inspired Madam C.J. Walker to become a millionaire. But this girl, Perot products, and Annie Turnbull Malone was giving millions of dollars away before Madam C.J. Walker made $1 million. Now that's the truth. Now, a lot of people don't know that. A lot of the stories that are told. This week I was in Riverside, California, and I was talking to some historians. And when I brought this fact up, it's like, well, we know, but how we gonna keep? Well, how can we? If we have accurate information,
How can we suppress it?
how can we suppress it? Now, granted, Madam C.J. Walker was the inspiration that made me. Because when I found out that a black woman had became a millionaire, and they said the first millionaire, and they blew it up, yada yada, and at that time, Willie Morrow had invented the Jerry curl with another brother by the name of Brooks from Colorado, had made his curl. Michael Jackson wearing a little curl down the middle of his head. Willie Morrow from the South moved to California, called it the California curl. He was making money with it. It wasn't until the white man, Jerry Redding, who never wore a curl, sat down and said, now we got to put this together and market it properly. Jerry Redding did Jeremac. You ever heard of Jeremac?
Yep.
Jeremac was done by Jerry Redding. You ever heard of Jerry Redding? Jerry Redding was done by Jerry Redding, now owned by Con Air. You ever heard of Redken? Redken was done by Jerry Redding, and he gave it to his wife as a divorce settlement. You ever heard of Nexus? Nexus was done by Jerry Redding. You ever heard of the Jerry Curl? The Jerry Curl was funded by and orchestrated by Jerry Redding. It ain't called the Willie Morrow curl. It ain't called the California curl. It ain't called the Carefree. That shows you how a lot of our history and our money and our things goes without us knowing it. So it's very important for us to tell our stories and tell them accurately. A lot of times it's going to hurt telling it accurately because some people don't want us to hear it. Because I had people last week in Riverside, California, with the Black history who didn't want me to say a word about Miss Turnbow and the parole products because it will
ruffle the fabric.
You're right. So what do you think about that? Let's go. I want you brothers to say what you think about that fact, and I'm gonna be right back. Go.
I think it's funny. I think we kind of get conditioned into what's taught to us, and we don't want to ever change and affect the fabric of that. And I think that sometimes, you know, that's just a small part of what's happening on the grand scale. From what I see, I think that a lot of times it's easy for us to cast shadow over what we want to know and what we want to see more than what the actual truth is. And you know. And I feel like that's exactly what happened in that scenario. I mean, that's something I wasn't aware of. That history was never, you know, presented to me. And like I was just telling I was just that I was telling him about, not to change the subject, but like the cotton gin. Like the cotton gin, you know, we are the ones that was out there that was applying, that even learned how a system can be ran based off of us actually being there to do it. No, you know, no white man was out there picking cotton to actually understand how a cotton gin is to be operated in that. But the history or origin of that, I'm sure we invented that as well, but we would never get the insight and credit of that because just of the lack of history and knowledge. Yeah.
Okay. Now let's go back on to Madam C.J. Walker, Ms. Turnbull. What do you think about that?
Well, you know what? I feel like it should get out there. I feel like they probably didn't want it spoke about because, you know, when someone's been teaching something for so long and it probably was misinformation or wrong information, the human characteristic is to not want to be wrong. You know, so they probably didn't want the truth to get out. So it wouldn't be, you know, no one wants to, you know, admit that they're wrong. And especially if you've been wrong for years, or you've been teaching this wrong to somebody else and lots of other people.
Because then, you know, you would have to destroy, I feel you would have to destroy a lot of history books and rewrite history books just to tell the truth. So that the younger generation is able to learn the truth of what actually happened. No one wants to tell us the truth of what actually happens. They would rather make up something so that they can benefit off of it. Just that percentage of people to benefit off of it. The rest of us, we just thrown under the rug.
Absolutely.
So they would tell us Madam C.J. Walker because they've been telling that for years. Yeah. They don't want to go back and be like, oh, we lied, we were wrong. It was Annie Tombo Malone.
See, and so this is this is why I think that for us to tell our own story, because until the lion learns to talk, the tale of the hunt will be told by the hunter. And you know, this is just one of many things that we need to bring out in our series on Tales from the Black History Museum. You know what I'm saying? Because there are a lot of wrongs that need to be right. And hey, we're not gonna get credit.
Speak.
You know, we're not gonna get the credit for what we did. And a lot of these historians are telling his story. They're not really telling our story.
Yeah, that's true.
And they don't want to tell. And there's a lot of us
or just telling a story.
Yeah, telling a story.
A story.
You know, so it's up to us to. It's up to us to.
See, information, information like that is vital. That we ain't even privy to.
Yeah, you know, and it's very inspirational because I have to also think in this decade, just look at the black people who have made an impact You know, from your Jordans to your LeBrons to your Serena Williams, and the things that they have contributed to people's lives and wanted to go and do from the fact that they've seen. And this information, you know, is just as inspiring for our females now who are, you know, a lot of females now are not even focused on starting businesses and different things, but this information, you know, being present to them is just inspiring enough that you don't know who could be the next. You know?
Right, you're right. You know, it's funny. I was just watching the History Channel, watching a documentary on Jack Johnson.
Yeah.
Jack Johnson. And like his mind frame when it came to, you know, because he was one that had the mind frame. Like, you know, a lot of people that was during the time when we just got out of slavery, and he felt so a lot of people still had slave mentality, but he wanted to be treated as equal man at a time where, you know, blacks wasn't looked at like that. But he, you know what I mean? He made it a point to do that, but his story was a trip.
Inspiring, huh?
Yeah, real inspiring.
Yeah,
But the one thing about him though is that he was at that time too, where he was talking about, you know, he had white women, all his women were white women that he, you know, and they didn't like that.
So they didn't like that.
Yeah, Jack Johnson, he was a factor. He ended up dying down in Mexico.
He died in Mexico?
Yeah, trying to fight and married white. Anyway.
Wow, so you got history on everybody that made history, pretty much.
Right. Well, because I collect everything about black folks, for black folks, against black folks, just as long as black folks is in there somewhere. I don't care if they were hated, if they were loved, because I'm not your average historian. I'm a collector. If you look around my home, you will see I'm a collector. And I go out on the deep edge, and I might be collecting, you know, pictures one day, and I might be collecting dirt balls the next.
Yeah, I feel you.
I might be collecting, you know, I just collect stuff. And when I was collecting black, if I seen something black that I didn't have,
You had to have it.
yeah, and it didn't matter what the cost was. Now I need to pass this on to a current generation, to the next generation, because we have books, we have artifacts, we have memorabilia, we have just the stuff on just about anybody. You know, and when you think about that guy, who is the next guy you think about as far as
Joe
boxes?
Louis? Joe Louis?
Right. Joe Louis was a, you know, I met Joe Louis when I was about 12 years old.
Yeah.
He was cutting grass in Denver, Colorado,
Yeah.
across the street from Mr. Bookart.
He was.
Say I was a Joe with by the dozen.
He was on
Violating
another level.
every code of his time.
I'm telling you, he was on a different level with it.
That's what I'm about to turn it up on y'all,
They
man.
said
I
he
ain't
would drive.
about mine. I'm about to be pissed off.
He would drive through. They say he would drive through Georgia in one of them racing cars that people ain't even have
Say in
racing
the
cars.
Ferrari
Police
with the
pull
white
him over.
girl.
Yeah, the police would pull him over, and he said he just pay the police off, and go right back to it like the times where it was wow.
For real. Got the
Wow.
glove. Yes, indeed.
This is a Joe Louis autographed glove. He could barely spell his name.
Wow.
He had his own drink. You know it was a punch.
So you know it was a push.
Wow.
I didn't know he had his own drink.
Joe Louis.
That's
And Mr. Lewis, he went into the
Man, I got it.
military.
what I'm trying to say, man. That's crazy.
You know, I'm just getting put up on knowledge right now. You know, this is just history. This is Joe Louis' actual boxing glove right here.
So who do you think would have won between
You talking about history, black history, it ain't black history like this.
Joe Louis,
Between
Muhammad?
Jack Johnson and Joe Louis? Or
or
Muhammad Ali?
Ever.
I feel like Muhammad Ali at his prime is something we ain't never, we would never see. This Muhammad?
yep, that's Muhammad,
Yeah,
the black Superman.
for real.
man.
So in the museum, I have about over 500 items on Muhammad Ali himself, by himself.
Really? That's why I said, wow.
Look at that. Now, see, back in the day when Joe Louis was doing that, was got the blood, the guts on it.
He still
You know,
got blood on
when Muhammad was signing, it was just like a, you know, they get a boxing glove and start signing.
He still got the war wounds on his glove. We got the Muhammad Ali autographed boxing gloves that he used. And we got Joe Louis with the blood still on it.
And when we had the museum, I had all the major boxers.
Really?
Gloves. The only one I never got was George Foreman.
Really? See, this type of stuff is the way that you engage the youth too, because sometimes I can already see. You got Muhammad Ali, Joe Louis. We have a segment. We have a segment on.
That's
on
what I'm trying to say. We got.
You thought you know
what I
sports.
mean? Yeah. You thought you know sports.
You feel me?
And it take them into that, like, you know. You know. Wow.
Let me see that. So another just, man, it's just phenomenal, brother.
That is.
Your boy.
Good.
I gotta send that to you.
Now I just bought this a couple days ago at Walmart. Cassius Clay.
Wow. On everything, greatest hit.
Oh,
the greatest. Bad. Bad.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Man, I'm posting that one morning. Yeah, up early off of that. Oh, for that.
They couldn't take the album that it was on.
Oh, yeah, that's classic right there, man.
Wow.
That's crazy.
So they made it on the DVD, but here's the album.
I am the greatest.
Bro, this needs to be in a glass plaque. Like, this needs to be in a picture frame.
Oh, you know, but your boy Cassius, you know, he went there. Then he went to your boy Muhammad.
That's what I'm saying.
But he wasn't afraid of putting albums out. Here he is fighting Mr. Tooth Decay.
Mr. Tooth Decay, that's what they call him.
Here he is as the greatest.
Wow.
And here it is, the best heavyweight championships. And Joe Louis is on here too. So, like I said, I can do 500 pieces of just nothing but.
Just on squat boxing alone.
No,
Or just on Muhammad.
Just on Muhammad. I got cases of this stuff. We're getting organized and putting things together. So, you know, you're having shows.
I wish we'd had this, because we'd had this conversation about him just a few months. Man.
Jack, yeah, man.
Wow.
You take Jack Johnson, Joe Louis, and then end it with Muhammad Ali, and you put the impact of them boxers.
Beautiful children's story. Wow.
Do an hour segment on Muhammad.
Real,
Easy,
alone.
easy.
Wow.
You know, we've got videotapes.
Yeah, we're going to work out a schedule, man, where we could get on something, but we can start helping you film that, you know?
Yeah, that's incredible.
We're going to help you film that. We for sure going to.
Yeah, man. Put it.
For sure. You know,
Crazy.
start moving forward on that. We gotta get on some type of schedule. I mean, you pretty much be filming and trying to do stuff. I mean, what is your schedule? Well, man, that's, you know what? I love it, man. I love it.
So I'm thinking what we need to really do is just start with one of the new foundation. Like I'm thinking about the Black Heritage Preservation Society. I think we should just take this and run it, because right now I'm trying to do is preserve our history.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Because even, you know, I'm not trying to talk anything bad about Smithsonian or that new museum that they got $600 million for.
Yeah.
But I mean, they need to take a couple dollars and spread it out here in LA.
I was just gonna say, you know, Michael Jordan just gave to the African American Museum $5 million just himself on that, and I'm just looking at him in history and seeing like once it's there right, like that money can be raised. Money for something like this or this significance can definitely be raised to that. And it's just too much for it to not be recognized.
I asked the director of the Smithsonian Museum about donating some stuff to that museum. The director of the Smithsonian, the International African American Museum, they don't need no more stuff because they got an agenda of what they're going to show, and they got people hired to show what they want to show.
They do.
And if you got to show anything,
they're gonna put a pause on
this ain't show.
I figured that even when I looked them up, I knew that was going to be the case. And this is another thing that gravitated me toward what you have going on. Is yours is actually black. Theirs is African American. You know, you're bringing 100% of the true culture, of the black culture. You know, and not the Americanized version. You know, the Americanized version is the version, and I tell us about the lady with Poro.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying? That's what they want to hear. She's not in the Americanized version. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, I only want one black, two blacks, two top people, one top person. You know?
I'm going to ask what...
People's Journey. Now, this is going to be the new multi-million-dollar black museum in Washington, D.C. Now, there's some kids that ain't going to never get out of Compton. There's some kids that's not going to ever get out of Lancaster or Palmdale. So we need organizations and we need stuff that's going to reach all of us.
Reach the masses.
I'm not saying anything bad about their museum, but a people's journey, whose journey?
Exactly.
A national story, whose nation? And we got the National Museum of African American History and Culture, sponsored by who?
Smithsonian.
So everything is going to come with that tag. And there's black folks who are sending everything they got to the Smithsonian and saying, oh my goodness, now the Smithsonian get my stuff. And the Smithsonian, in a lot of cases, ain't even interested in that because they got their story ready to be told. That stuff goes in the basement and sometimes out the back door. And sometimes never gets shown. When some of that culture, that history, that oral history need to be preserved all over. We need little pockets of museums, little gathering places. Right. Some of these folks, they say, oh no, if it's not done by a museum professional, it ain't worth it. But some of these kids, it's hard enough to get these kids to go anywhere to do anything. So if we have, so that's why I'm ready to help museums, organizations, societies globally to tell our story accurately. And also we need to use things that are at our disposal now, like the internet, like YouTube, like Facebook, like Twitter. Like I said, back in the day when my son was trying to get me to tweet, I didn't want to tweet. I couldn't understand it. When they tried to get me to do on social media on Facebook, I didn't want to do it. I didn't understand it. When they wanted me to do Instagram or Pinterest, I didn't understand it. Now there's so many of these things that now I understand how I can take what we have. So I guess one of the,
even for what you're doing now with your show, you probably have better ratings and better viewings if you did it on like Facebook Live or something. Even for right now.
Right.
Beyond what we're talking about as far as doing it on a bigger scale, but for what you're doing right now, for just doing them and filming it yourself, Facebook Live, because it's everybody's on Facebook.
Everybody
goes
and
and they share it, and then it's live, and they're coming to your Facebook.
And they'll make
we need to put some of this up on Facebook Live.
Just like there it is. You know what I'm saying? And it goes, you know what I'm saying, over and over till it goes viral. I'm loving it all. I think basically what we're here to try to, we're kind of trying to see where you're at with it.
We don't cut off, boys, because we're gonna get into our to another discussion, but we'll see another time.
Yeah, for sure.
So this is Oran Z saying goodbye and
goodbye.
Knowledge, man, knowledge. They'll never stop attaining knowledge. It was a pleasure to meet y'all today.
Pleasure.
And in the Bible it says,
got-
keep taking in accurate
Got
knowledge.
any questions? Ask Oran.
That's right. And if I don't know, I'll make it up.